Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies, strengthening your business while offering your talent to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Well, welcome to Giver Marketing Network. We are so excited to have you here as part of our masterclass on Tuesdays. Join us every Tuesday for our masterclass. We cover all sorts of wonderful marketing topics. And today, our guest speaker is Gordon Smith with US Leadership. He's an executive coach. And I think we find often that before you can even start your marketing, you really need to get the basics in order. So I think that's what we're focusing on today. Is that right?
Absolutely, Christine. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's always great working with you. I know you and I do a lot of projects together, both with U.S. leadership and outside of U.S. leadership. It's always fun connecting with you.
Absolutely. I look forward to our topic today. You know, we're talking about something near and dear to my heart, which is a mission-driven marketing. But before we jump into that, Gordon, you want to tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more about you and your background?
Absolutely, Christine. So I'm actually relatively new still to U.S. leadership. I'm still in my first year with U.S. leadership. And what we do is we are a leadership development and business excellence firm that helps business owners to identify processes, go over their marketing plans and strategies, as well as really help define who they are today and who do they need to grow into as they grow with their business. And so we use a lot of biblical principles when we're working with our clients, and that's just a high level overview of everything that we're doing in U.S. leadership. We also offer various workshops. One of our key products that we're putting out for people right now is the CEO Impact Group. If you have any interest in participating in that, feel free to send me out an email. It'll be scrolling at the base of the screen. We'll go over that towards the end of the show. But a little bit more about my background. Prior to U.S. leadership, I completed my master's degree in finance through Southern Methodist University in 2022. Prior to that, I served in the Army for 13 years as a combat medic, and I've been exposed to a lot of different elements there. One thing from my military experience that's really helped me with understanding marketing and strategic messaging that I was able to get from during my time with civil affairs. And so I've been able to look at how are we showing effective partnerships and reflecting what our mission is to every stakeholder that's involved, whether they be very much so involved at the strategic and policy level, or just the person walking on the street. How do they understand the message and how are they consuming it in order to understand what's going on around them? So I'm really excited in talking about mission-driven marketing. That's something that Christine and I have talked about at length over our time getting to know each other. And both of us are very passionate about working with groups that have a specific mission in mind that they want to succeed in, whether it be for-profit, nonprofit, faith-based, or just a regular for-profit company. Everybody has a mission that they're out to successfully complete. And so when we're talking about mission-driven marketing, what we're talking about is actually getting your purpose in line and to your key market demographic.
Yeah, great explanation. Absolutely. And when it comes down to mission driven, right, we have a big heart, and that so giver marketing is all about that, right? We want to help people that want to do good in the world. So, and I think a mission, your mission can be nonprofit focused, or, like you said, it could be just your business wants to do good in the world. And we hope everybody wants to do good in the world. Those are the people that we're looking for, and we love to help. So when you mentioned mission driven marketing, I got so excited.
and, and Christine, mission-driven marketing isn't something that U.S. leadership officially calls it. That's just something that I like to call it, and it's something that you and I have brought up in conversation. But the elements are still there with whether you call it mission-driven marketing, purpose marketing, or just regular marketing. It's all about telling the story of what your product is, what your service is, how is it used, and why should people be attracted to it. And so we're going to be going through that here in just a moment.
Sounds good to me. What do you have for us today, Gordon?
Well, so if you'll give me just 1 second here, I'm going to get up here on the slide. And one of the first things that I want to bring up when we're looking at our marketing strategy is that your marketing is a reflection of who you are as a business and what type of ideal client are you trying to attract. Now, we're not going to get into attracting your ideal client today or your target market. We're going to have me back for another couple of episodes just to talk about those. But particularly when we're looking at what is that purpose that we're communicating into the marketplace, that's ultimately how people make decisions whether or not they're going to buy your product or buy your purpose. As we see here on the slide, people like to relate with whatever product and service that they have, and so one of the great speakers that caught my attention on this was Simon Sinek, where he asked people, how do we establish your why? Now, a why is very narrow in my mind. Now, having a purpose is that fulfillment of the promise, and that is where we really got to start in our marketing journey. So when we get down to it, what your purpose is a reflection of your core values, and this like I'm showing it here on the slide, it helps to shape the vision and the purpose of your organization. Imagine that you're building a building. Your core values are actually what hold everything up. It allows everyone in the marketplace to see exactly where you stand on different items within the not just within your business but the marketplace, but also what you are willing and not willing to tolerate in your business. And that's really important to communicate. And
so Gordon, I want to interrupt you right there. Core values. Let's take a moment and let's unpack that a little bit more. Let's give him some examples. What does that mean in the real world, right? We're familiar with businesses. We see advertisements. We know businesses are supposed to stand for things. And that's a big deal in today's market, right? We pay attention to more than just what do you make, but why do you make it? What's your presence in the world, right? What do you value as a company? And we'll hold that against you and not spend our money with you. So we pay attention to that kind of stuff as consumers. So when we talk about some of the big brands out there and we think of core values, do you have any ideas for us?
Oh yes, when you're expressing your core values, what does success mean? If that's a core value for you, well, success means that I'm moving up the bottom line. No, how is success tied into business? How is it reflected? For me, one of my personal core values is safety and security. I'm not going to do anything that's going to put myself in unnecessary risk for myself or for my wife and my son. And so when I make decisions, it reflects my values. And so when you look at a company's core values and you see them not acting in line with those values, you already know a lot of your client experience what that's going to actually look like. We've seen that big change in the market landscape, especially through the time of the lockdowns, where a lot of companies lost considerable amounts of market share just because they were not able to uphold their values and fulfill that promise that they're making. And so, in a roundabout way, Christine, there's your answer for that.
Well, I was just thinking, if you think about some of the big businesses out there and some of the big brands, right?
Mhm.
So you got me thinking here. So if we were going to throw together something with some of the high tech, right? So Apple
Mhm.
or Google, or right. So some of the values that they share, innovation.
Mhm.
Right. You can see that they value innovation. They have research departments that are big. They have, they're encouraging new breakthroughs all the time and bringing
Mhm.
those out and letting you know what the latest, greatest is and what the latest features are. And they're always trying to improve. Right. So the latest technology is important. Right. So we see that they value innovation. Right.
Mhm.
So when we can see a company and they say they value innovation and then they never make any improvements and they never do anything more advanced with their tech, we're going to be looking at them like, how sure are you about that value? Because we're not feeling real sure as consumers, right?
Absolutely. So, or one example would be Google with having equity and access is one of their really big values that they like to report on, is that they like to be able to provide as much internet access and not just to information, but services and goods to everyone globally. And so when you look at what how their business is operating and how they're increasing on an international level, it's like, okay, that's great, but how did you actually help people that didn't already have access? And so and Google has a myriad of programs where they're helping um, different areas within like the developing world to have more access to telecommunications and the like. And so you can really see that through a lot of their donation activities, through um, even what they're reporting on through their website. So Christine, you're absolutely right in what you were
Yeah, I was just thinking about our values need to be very clear. Like you
saying.
mentioned, not only what they are, but what they are not. And
Hmm.
that's an interesting point a lot of people don't think of. If you'd like to elaborate on that a little bit more.
Oh, absolutely. So when you're looking at, like I was initially saying, when you're looking at values, there you have to also describe what that means, because people are going to have different viewpoints on what a single word means. And so having that clarity and being able to provide that definition really helps to unmurky the water, and really helps to align expectations that people are going to have. Now, when you have lip service values, as I like to refer to them as, people can see that. People can see that there's not a lot of energy, there's not a lot of passion behind those values, and that's where you start running into issues when you're not living out a core set of values within your business. So um, this also is going to tie in beautifully into establishing your vision as well, Christine. So do you mind if I head off into there?
Go for it.
So when we're looking at our core beliefs, our core values, and we're building where we're going, we're taking that piece of the market with us. Who become our clients, who become our consumers, ultimately are going to be traveling on this journey. They need to know where we're going. They need to know what to expect in the years to come. And so, if you can make your vision compelling, not just to yourself and to the people within your company, but to the marketplace, you're going to be able to excite a lot of emotion and get more people that want to join you in what you're trying to accomplish. And so,
Absolutely.
So here we have in Simon Sinek's talk, he did a talk at Puget Sound on TEDx, and that just really grabbed me by the ears because I was listening to him, and he said he brought up in the talk that over 250,000 people came to hear Martin Luther King speak. Was it because of Martin Luther King or what he stood for?
Yeah.
And and what he was able to draw on is that there's the feeling part of the brain, and then there's the action part of the brain. And what we typically do is we say, okay, this is what we do. We build widgets. This is the methods that we go about doing that, describes our how, and then we go into our purpose. Whereas when you're communicating your purpose, when you're communicating your why, what you're really doing is setting your market, the things that differentiate you in the market. Why you? Why is it that people are going to want to spend their money, spend their time, and be a part of your company through the consumer process or even through working for you? Why are you the one? And so when we look at that, if we start with communicating that purpose, what we do is we end up pushing past that part of the brain that says, I need to act right now, to where we're stimulating feeling, we're stimulating emotion. We're able to really draw that line and that attraction to our ideal client, because if we're giving a message that's resonating with people, they are going to have a similar set of core beliefs, foundations, and visions in their lives that are going to align with ours and our purpose. So as we move out, from why, we go into the how. What are the processes, the unique pieces of technology that allow you to really bring this special purpose to fulfillment? How are you going to sustain it? And then it's speaking to the what type of industry that you're in. That's the what. So Simon Sinek said in his presentation that Apple showed that they believe that they're going to move past the status quo. They're going to help change the market. They are going to be effective agents of change. How they're going to do that is with user-friendly computers that have a beautiful interface and easy to use. Now, their what is they build computers. And so the biggest part of that message, as Simon Sinek was saying in his presentation, wasn't the fact that they build computers, MP3 players, but it's what does it mean when you buy an Apple product? What are you helping to represent? And so when we look at that from the inside out communication versus the outside in, we actually get a better attachment of why it is that we want to be a part of this journey. And so, like I said, with the out going inward, all you're able to communicate there is what you're doing and how you're just like everybody else in the marketplace within that specific industry. That's not really helping your case for why people need to work with you. Simon Sinek drew on an example of Gateway. They tried producing flat screen TVs and it failed horribly. Why? Because they didn't communicate. They said, "Hey, we're a computer company that's making flat screen TV." Although Apple, Samsung have been able to do that with very few issues, and be able to actually have that as a part of the product offering to the marketplace. And so, but it's also because of how they communicate, why they exist to their consumers and to the world at large.
Absolutely right. And then when you tie that in, like you said, it's the marketing. How are they communicating that with the outside world? And I think Apple does a really good job with their why. As part of that is the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Apple has created their own community of very loyal followers, right? So if we could all create that kind of loyalty with our consumer base, right? How did they do that? Well, like you said, they really made it clear what their why is, right? Why do we care? Why do we want to be a part of this, right? Their values are something that's important to us that we can relate to, and we see the benefit in it, and we see the benefit to us, right?
Absolutely. And another great example of this was several years ago. Nike did a great Super Bowl commercial. It had Venus Williams on it, Tony Robbins, Sir Richard Branson, and um, the whole commercial was about overcoming obstacles that are in your path? What is standing in the way of your excellence? What is going to need? And what is it going to take for you to come from dark into light? And what are they talking about? Or all they're talking about are their shoes, but they're talking about the early morning runs. They're talking about, that the disappointment that you're going to see, the pain that's going to be involved with that as an athlete. And what are you willing to do to push past that? You're going to need our products to do that. Here you go. And so when you look at those creative marketing strategies, what they do is they excite and motivate people, but they also help to introduce various disciplines into your life, like Nike did, through physical fitness in their apparel. And now you have all the right gear to go out every day and make that change. Where
Right.
Apple.
Well, I was just thinking then the Nike thing, the shoes, right, ties back into those values you were talking about. What? Strength, endurance, not quitting, commitment, right? Health, all that kind of stuff, all rolled into one. All those values come through their marketing, right? We see all that and we see the why. It's more than just the what. Look, I have a shoe. How? Well, we make them really well so you can run good. Okay. And go buy our shoes. Yeah, there's so much more to it than that, right?
Oh, absolutely. For me, Christine, you've been on, you've known me for a while now. You know that I'm really into running, and I have a set of shoes they're called Hope. Those are $140 pair of shoes. Why did I spend that money on a pair of shoes? Because of what they are, what they can do. And what they do is that they have an excellent technology, but it's also the official shoe of Ironman racing. It is the shoe that every competitive runner has that is pushing the limit, that's going further. And that's ultimately what you're seeing, and what you're getting is being drawn into that community, as you said, like what Apple did. Apple, I think they've taken their attachments with groups and being able to attach it also as a status symbol really made them different than, let's say, Samsung. I've yet to see a Samsung ad on the internet or on TV that was really as exciting as when you look at something from Apple. When you look at celebrities, you look at them in their music videos, or people still do watch those, by the way. But what are they doing? They're making references to Apple products. They're not saying, oh, look at my Samsung Galaxy that I have here. No, you show an iPhone and it automatically triggers that this is a quality product that I spent a lot of money for, and only exclusive people can have it. And that was another part of their branding that they were able to connect with people on, that whereas their purpose will get the bulk of their market share, but that peripheral piece of the marketing that says, okay, we're also a status symbol. If you're going to drive a Mercedes, you also need to have an Apple product, and really kind of drawing the relationships between other high-end brands into their own marketing. It's absolutely wonderful to see that.
It is. And people think, oh, marketing, it's just social media. It's just an ad. It's just that, oh, there's so much thought that goes behind these campaigns, right? The values, the whys, it's all tied in. It's so much deeper than most people really stop to think about. And they spend a lot of money putting these things together, right? Marketing is expensive. The reason why is they're working on all these different levels that most people aren't realizing when they're watching the ad. Right. You see an ad. Oh, well, that was neat. Right. Or we all like to watch Super Bowl ads. Right. And oh, that was funny. Right. But somewhere in our subconscious, right, we're realizing the values and what's tied into, like, oh, well, this company represents family. Well, how do you know? Right. Because that's what they're talking about. That's what they're illustrating. That's what they're using. Those are the kinds of things that are going on in their commercials and their marketing. Right. So it all ties in so closely.
Yeah. And when you're talking about, especially in today's market, when as we've seen, like ESG really start picking up steam with a lot of major corporations, we're starting to see a lot more shareholder activism. one of the things that you're seeing in the marketplace is that people want mission-driven marketing. They want to know that they're buying a product that's ethically aligned with them and is also making a positive impact in the world. You're even seeing the oil companies starting to say, "Oh yes, we help to produce energy, but we're also going to be the leaders in the green revolution to come." And they're already starting to change their narrative to match what the consumers are wanting to hear. Now, one aspect of mission-driven marketing that I just kind of want to get a little bit off topic here, but it's still related, is what you said about social media and how we communicate the message. Um, I do think that social media plays a very important role with marketing because it gives you that storytelling component, that ability for your consumers to see you as the owner, what your thoughts, beliefs, and how passionate you are about your product. So when you're looking at your engagement in social media, one thing to be very cognizant of is, am I projecting all the love that I have for my company in this message? Is that what people are seeing, or are they seeing, you want to buy some? You know, that's not exactly inspiring. But when you use social media, show how your products are making that impact. One company that I follow on LinkedIn, he actually shows project developments as they're happening on LinkedIn. So like he makes funny jokes about like a dump truck that broke down and didn't bring an extra load of sand to whatever construction site that they're at. And he talks about that challenge. How did he overcome it? And ultimately, what is the overall impact of all of the work that they're doing? So when we look at uh, getting value out of social media, we have to spend the time in. We have to make sure that our message is in line with our brand, and it's also communicating our purpose every single day.
Absolutely. If is your message, is it showing everybody what your why is? If it's
Mhm.
not, you're doing yourself a disservice, really, when you think about it. And all your messages, right? Are we just asking for money? Or are we just saying bye, 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 bye? Right? Or are we actually telling people why they should buy with us in particular, right? And it's more about building that brand, building that culture more so than, you can buy an apple anywhere, but this apple is special.
Well, yeah, and you are bringing up another great point, Christine, is that when we're looking at, yes, we're using our marketing typically when that discussion is about getting new customers to come and get our service or get our products. But what about the marketing that we do for the people that are already within or that are consuming our products and services? How are we speaking to them? How are we building that community? And so when we look at, as you said, communicating the why, it's also a reminder to your current customer base about why they still need to be a part of this vision. What are you doing to communicate to not just the new people that you want to come to your company, but the people that are already there? And how do you
Absolutely.
recognize them?
Yeah, you want to keep them coming back because, well, they tried your product. You go down a shelf, let's say for products, and there's 20 different types of bread on the aisle, or 20 different 100 different types of cereal, right? And how do you decide? They're going eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Well, this one's a little bit more, that one's a little bit less, but then you remember something
Mhm.
about their marketing, something about their campaign, or they've got something on the box where, we're donating to or support this, or you're like, oh, well, that's good. It's worth a little
Mhm.
bit more money for that, right? And we pull that off the shelf, right? We can be impacted by that when we see something that grabs our attention and we see their why. Right. And we
Mhm.
see that in all the different kinds of marketing, from special ads like that, or, we talk about story and video, right? Video
Mhm.
is huge right now. So use video whenever possible to share that story with us. And it's not even, this is important to us because of this, right? You can merely tell the story, right?
Mhm.
And you're associated with that story because you told it.
Mhm. One thing that I've been seeing a lot on Facebook being done really well is that when people are communicating their stories, they're communicating both the good and the bad that is happening. And they're, when you look at these videos, they're not done with really expensive equipment. They're using a lot of these folks are just using their phone and capturing moments in time that they feel that need to be communicated. And so when we look at our overall marketing strategy, yes, we do need to have a considerable amount of money set aside to be able to do our formal ads, do our marketing campaigns, and our calls to action. But what are those opportunities that we have to communicate that we need to leverage that aren't that expensive? And again, it's all about communicating that purpose with clarity, attaching it to your vision, and being able to speak on your core values. How do we keep circulating that narrative, and as it continues to grow, show that you're also listening to your consumers?
Well, and I want to add in also, what came to my mind when you're talking about that was authenticity, right?
Mhm.
Those short reels that are real popular right now, it's the moments in time where you're telling the story. And like you said, the good, the bad, what went well, what didn't, and showing your decision-making process, why you made the decision that way says a lot about your core values, right? When you're talking about how you made a decision, right, you're showing this is what's important to us, and this is what our thought process is like, and this is why we made this decision. I mean, what a great opportunity to share those values and be transparent and honest and authentic about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that's one of the things I think that really draws in your viewership and your consumers and everybody out who's following you, right? They want to know why you're doing what you're doing. And when you're transparent like that, I really think that helps.
Well, yeah, and so when you're communicating your purpose, all that is telling, hey, this is what you're going to catch us doing all the time. And as long as, and I hear transparency, I hear authenticity all the time. I do not like buzzwords, but uh, the one thing that I will say is that if you're if you truly want to be authentic and don't have it be forced, just be who you are in the marketplace by living out your purpose. It's the one of the easiest ways for people to relate. Yes, this is what they said, this is what they're doing, and it all makes sense. It gets that frontal part of the brain to be in agreement that yes, I made the right choice, and quickly.
Absolutely, because it's the contradictions that make us hesitate. And with most people and consumers especially, if they have to hesitate, the answer is no.
Mhm.
Right? If we get
Absolutely.
confused, if we get lost, if we're not sure, that hesitation shows up as a no. We're just not going to move forward with that because we don't feel comfortable with it for whatever reason. So you really want to make sure everything is congruent.
Well, and you said it right there. Simon Sinek also brought that up. I don't feel like this is right. My heart says that that's that emotional part of your brain, the inner part of your brain that is driving, helping to drive that decision. And so that is why, again, your purpose needs to not focus on what you do, but why you do it, and why are you that entity to bring it into the marketplace to be fulfilled.
Absolutely. That's huge. So let's say take a moment and review what we were talking about here for different takeaways, right? So people can remember, right? What were they working on, right? So we've been talking about mission driven marketing, right? So you've got a mission. Hopefully it's to do good in the world, not bad. So mission driven, right? So what is it that you're really trying to accomplish? What are your goals, right? And, what is your purpose? right? So if you're not taking the time, and a lot of times we get in a hurry, we're in a rush, as a small business, or we grow too fast, we're not realizing, right, that we've lost sight of our goals. We need to stop and reevaluate as we go through our business, right? You might put something together to start with, and then you have to stop once in a while and reflect back and say, is what I'm doing, does that match my purpose? Does it match my goals? Does it match my values? Right. So we have to stop once in a while and take a look, right? Because it's not just about our products and our services, right? It's why, it's what makes us unique.
And I want to just kind of caveat off of something that you said about growing too fast. When you're growing too fast, it's easy for a lot of companies to lose sight of their core values, their purpose. But that's also why we need to have that purpose being ingrained into the foundation of the company. That we are only successful is when we're fulfilling our purpose, which is fulfilling the promise for our consumers and our fellow market participants. So starting off with getting that purpose clearly defined, but before you can have your purpose defined, you need to know what your core values are, and you're going to have at least 5 clearly defined core values. And what I always tell my clients when I'm working with them, I don't want to hear about the values that you need that you represent today. What are the 5 core values that you need to grow into to be that person that is going to lead that 5, 10, 20, $30 million company? You're going to have growth, a different mindset as you're growing that company, and as your message, and how is your message going to change from a one-man show to having a $2-3 million company to now being operating at higher revenues. What does that look like, and how are we changing, and how are we informing our consumers that these changes are happening, and why? Because of where we're at and the success that we've had. A great example of that would be Hilton Hotels. When they talk about challenges that they're experiencing, they always relate back to their values and about where their loyalties are to not just their consumers, but their employees, their shareholders, and the wider market at large. Why they are going to continue to have their longevity, and we're having to we're experiencing a change right now, and so this is how we changed, why we changed it, but we're still the same company fulfilling the same purpose, and they were very intentional in doing that. So that's just one great example.
Well, yeah. And you mentioned, like we said, when you're growing, right? Stopping, reevaluating, do you make changes? And are these changes reflecting your core values? And I think a lot of times that can help a company decide whether or not they want to add on a new service or a new product, right? And they stop and ask themselves, does this support our goals, our vision? Does this support our values? And if it doesn't belong here, right? It keeps you focus, and it keeps you from getting too distracted off in different areas, right? Because I think that's where we've seen some large businesses, as they get successful and they decide they're going to branch out into all sorts of different areas that are not their area of expertise, right? And so they end up floundering, right? Because they're not staying focused and true to their core values and their mission and what they're really trying to accomplish, right? They've gone off in areas that are not their area of expertise. And I know those that know me know that I'm involved with the DFW Veterans Chamber of Commerce. And when we put ours together, we very specifically said, what are our core values, right? Is it leadership, honor, integrity, service, right? These are things that are important to us, right? And so when we look at what we do, does it serve those core values? If it's not, right, we need to reevaluate what that is. And is this something we really should be doing, right? And if our vision is to bring together the veteran community, what we're doing, our activities, our services, or the products that we offer, does it align with that, right? Which ties all back to that mission-driven, organization, which obviously the DFW Veterans Chamber is, right? But it is so important when figuring out who you are as an organization. Then you can move forward from there. And if you move too fast and you missed it, you got to go back and do it, and you still got to review it once in a while.
Well, and when you're talking about using your core values and your purpose to help make business decisions, it's a really great uh, uh, bar that when you're looking at doing business with somebody, you can say we're not going to do this because it just doesn't align with our values. It doesn't align with our brand and who we are. That says something to whoever is coming to to work with you. Now, when we think about marketing, we think about getting the yes, but it's also allowing us the grace to be able to say no and give a great reason why. It,
Mhm.
if we see that a company that wants to come and work with us is not uh, uh, does not have their fundamentals together and their values are completely contradictory to ours, I already know that relationship is not going to be successful. And so, rather than spending the time, the energy, trying to flush various bad experiences out, you can really revert back to, hey, this isn't going to work with us because of our values and our purpose. And so while it helps you to say yes, it helps you to say no, but it also safeguards your reputation and what you stand for in the market.
Absolutely. Because like we said, the consumers are looking for that consistency, right? And if when you go off and go off the reservation, that doesn't work anymore. You got to stay to your core values. Absolutely. So review your mission statement, right? If you're
Mhm,
starting out with a new business, you got to make sure that's clear. And if you already
mhm,
have a business, go back, review it, make sure it's accurate. Every once in a while, you got to go in and tweak things a little bit, right?
mhm,
Review your values, right? Is what
mhm.
you're doing, is that going along with your core values? And then are you sharing that with the greater public? Are you sharing that with your consumers, with your current clients? Are you sharing it with your prospecting clients, right? Are you helping to build that sense of community based on those core values,
Mhm.
right? And so beliefs tie into your business. So what do you have going on there with the beliefs thing? You want to wrap that one up again?
Oh, absolutely. I love talking about beliefs. So when we are sharing the thought of our company with the broader marketplace, what made you get up out of bed one day and say, "Gee, I think this is a really great idea"? Whatever that was, that is a story that needs to be told, and that beliefs, the beliefs that you had that helped to carry you to launch that new idea. Anybody who said launching their business was the easiest thing they've ever done, I'm very doubtful of that. It is a hard experience because while you think, oh, hey, I got this bright idea, I'm gonna change the world with this service, this product, and then you go to start, and then you discover how much you don't know. So when you look at what are those beliefs that not just help you grow, but also help maintain your business's integrity during the challenging time? What are you going? How is your business going to be able to withstand um, uh, the economic shocks that happen, the big trends of shareholder activism? How are your businesses going to be affected by supply chain disruptions? And your supply chain disruptions does tie to your beliefs because you can show that you believe in that you are going to endure. You are going to not only survive this time, but you're going to thrive. And so, having these values, having these beliefs, communicating it back to your purpose really helps to also preserve that faith and that reputation of your.
Absolutely. So when we tie all that together, our mission, our values, our beliefs, our vision, I mean, it's time to
It's a
take a
lot.
look. Once you've got all that done, now you can kind of say, okay, now how does this reflect into my marketing? And is my marketing and the relationship I'm building with my clients and my prospective clients, is it in alignment, right?
Mhm,
Is this somebody that you want to do business with? Right.
mhm.
And if you can look at your own marketing and say, that's not really somebody I want to work with, guess what? No one else wants to work with you either. So
Absolutely. When I look at companies that, because I help to also do business development for U.S. leadership, if I can't clearly see that a company has their core values, um, I automatically put a question mark if I want to work with them. Just because if they don't have that clarity, it's going to be very difficult to introduce that. And so when I know we've spent quite a bit of time talking about the core values and the vision, but these are the necessary steps that I see time and time again that a lot of business owners don't have a good handle on. They say, well, this is I make this widget uh, and this is why people are going to buy it. Okay, why?
And why are they going to buy it from you specifically and not someone else, not your competitor?
There's 10,000 other widget makers.
Right.
Why were you the one to manifest it into existence in the marketplace?
Exactly. That ties back to your whole why, how, and what, right? When you
Mhm.
really get into the core, that middle core of the why is really where you want to spend most of your time playing. You know
Mhm.
the other parts, right? And
Mhm.
chances are a lot of people, we talked about phones or computers or shoes. People understand that part, but what makes you unique, right? How do you do things differently, and why should we buy it from you specifically? Right. And all that's going to come through that whole exploratory process.
Yeah, and just communicating those existential goals that you have, being able to also talk about your key differentiators that make you unique and why your ideal client needs to come and work with you in this specific space and time uh, to help them either with product or a service.
Well, so Gordon, thank you so much for coming and talking to us about kind of getting all our back office in order, right? When it comes to marketing, because without these decisions, and this is where I normally start with my clients also is, they want to jump right into the marketing. And a lot of times you're just not ready yet. You think you are, but a lot of times you're not. So we really need to start with these core basics before we can move forward from there. And as an executive coach, you mentioned that this is the kinds of stuff that you do with your clients also.
Hmm. Oh, absolutely. When I when I'm talking with a lot of business owners, uh, the one question that we ask is, "Can you please tell me what your actionable purpose statement is?" And some you have some that are like, bam, here it is. Others are, I have never considered having something because I am an expert at auto mechanics, construction, software engineer. I'm an expert in this, and this is why my business is going to be successful. It's okay, but what is your purpose? Oh, and so when they look at the challenges that they're having and when they're facing those challenging times in growth, because they need to get in alignment with their core values, their vision, and their purpose, and communicate that into the market.
Well, so I know you mentioned through U.S. leadership that you have some different things that you do through that organization. So what are you guys up to?
Oh, absolutely. So some of the different products that we have is we really like to focus on leadership development through our proprietary level seven leader development process. We also offer our business excellence where we're doing traditional business consulting. And we also are currently rolling out our CEO impact groups, which are intended for business owners that have been running their companies for at least 3 to 5 years and are ready to accelerate their excellence and take their company to a place they never even dreamt of.
Wow. So it sounds like you come with a lot of experience here with this whole leadership and business side. So we appreciate you taking the time with us today to help us understand a little bit more with our core values and our mission-driven marketing. So we love that. And thank you so much for being here today. We'll have to have you back sometime.
No, thank you so much for having me, Christine. It's always just a
Well,
pleasure
yeah.
and a privilege working with you.
And so if anybody wants to find out more with marketing, feel free to join us in our givermarketing.com/group. And that's where we hang out. And we have lots of free marketing advice in there. If you want to look into your marketing, it's a great place to hang out with us. You can also text for more information. So if you wanted to reach out, you can text to 916-919-1601 and find out more about Giver Marketing. We love to help. We're all about mission driven. We're all about helping people take their business to the next level. So this is what we do every Tuesday. You want to hang out with us at 8 a.m. on the Pacific Coast time, 10 a.m. and Central Standard Time, and then at 11 o'clock on the East Coast. So come join us every Tuesday. The topics change weekly. This week, we were lucky enough to have Gordon Smith, and he came from U.S. Leadership, an executive coach. So we loved having you here today. We look forward to having you back, and we'll have a lot of fun next week. Check in. Come hang out with us again next Tuesday, and we will be here. Thank you, Gordon.
Hey, thank you so much, Christine. You all have a great day. Thank you.